What happened to the clones after the Clone Wars ended? How did they cope with the aftermath of the conflict, and what kind of lives did they lead? These are questions that have long fascinated fans of the Clone Wars series. And sometimes, for Clone Wars fans, The Bad Batch turns into a must-see series that gets to explore some surprisingly nuanced and compelling storylines. Exploring these exact questions, looking into how the galaxy at large grappled with what to do with the clones, and how some characters became pawns in a larger game of politics and power. Very quickly showing that perhaps the biggest pawn wasn't a single individual, but all the clones together. With that said, enter this episode of The Bad Batch. Episode 8, Truth and Consequences. So we meet up with the Bad Batch, who we didn't see at all in the last episode. Omega and Echo's conversation is interrupted when Rex gives the Batch a holo call, asking for their help on Coruscant. Hunter is very wary of heading to Coruscant because they are supposed to be keeping a low profile. After all, the Empire thinks the Bad Batch died on Kamino. However, just like how they can't say no to Omega, the Bad Batch cannot say no to Rex. He's their boy. So they get to Coruscant, and Omega is amazed by the cityscape. Me too, Omega, me too. The art is just really good here. And they meet up with Rex, and Senator Chuchi is with him. Rex explains what happened with Rampart's assassin in the last episode, and about the conspiracy to cover up Kamino's destruction. They also talk about how Senator Chuchi has a plan to expose the truth, and the Bad Batch, of course, wants to help. Their mission will be to retrieve the command log backed up on Rampart's Venator ship that Slip made. They hope the log will prove the Empire opened fire on the cities and that it wasn't some kind of storm that wiped out Kamino. And wouldn't you know it, conveniently, Rampart's Venator is parked on Coruscant right now for maintenance. But it's not exciting enough yet. No. They have to add a countdown timer. The defense bill that they're trying to stop will be voted on soon. And without the information stored on the command log, people won't know how evil the Empire is. And if people don't know how evil the Empire is, then it's much more likely that this new military funding bill will pass in the Senate, which in turn gives the Emperor exactly what he wants. So Omega decides to tag along with Chuchi for the day and gets a civic lesson at the Senate building. Omega's mind immediately goes to asking who represents the clones in the Senate. And of course, Chuchi has to explain that the clones are not represented in the Senate, but she's trying to change that. Later in the day, Chuchi meets with Bail Organa, and he suggests that Chuchi work with Halle Bertoni to oppose the defense bill. Bertoni is the senator from Kamino, and the thought is she'll have all kinds of insights that could help them. So Chuchi listens to Bail and sets up a meeting with Bertoni. Chuchi asks for her help, but Bertoni is less than enthusiastic about it. She reminds Chuchi that most of the Kaminoans, her people, are now dead, and Chuchi shouldn't be poking around digging up dirt on the Empire's misdeeds. It's dangerous. She says that Kaminoan leadership was too confident the Empire needed them and the planet for the production of clones, when in reality, the Empire just views everything and everyone as replaceable. She goes a step further and says it's not worth getting involved because the Empire is too powerful and so big at this point, there is nothing that they could do to stop it. She's kind of proved right later in the episode. But anyway, Bertoni thinks the only potential thing that could help in this is irrefutable proof showing the Empire's true colors to the public, which Chuchi says, hey, I will actually have something like that soon. And what she's referring to is the command log from Rampart's ship showing the destruction of Kamino. We cut to the rest of the batch and Rex infiltrating the Venator at the Coruscant shipyards. It's an awesome set piece. They are going in at night through maintenance tunnels that Rex knows about from the war, ducking between blue energy fields and clone trooper security. The Bad Batch and Rex are maybe some of the only people in the galaxy that could pull this off because of their background. They move through the ship really well, almost like without Omega, they're a better team. Although I guess Rex isn't usually with them either, so that helps too. They're successful in getting the data, but this causes clone troopers to be scrambled en masse in order to respond. The Bad Batch ends up escaping by getting onto and firing escape pods to put some distance between them and the ship. But back at the Senate, the real action is heating up because the voting is about to start. Chuchi has actually convinced Bertoni to speak out against Rampart. Chuchi interrupts the vote by publicly accusing Rampart of not only redirecting military monies, but also ordering the destruction of Kamino. And as if on cue, in the nick of time, the files from the Bad Batch's mission arrive, and Chuchi exposes the conspiracy to everyone at the Senate. She literally plays a holo recording of Imperial ships shooting at the cities on Kamino. The Senate is shocked, but before anyone has time to actually process what's happening, an alarm blares. And, as if rising out of the depths of hell, Palpatine emerges and takes center stage before everyone. It's actually a really epic scene, and the music does a lot. The Emperor gives a chilling speech where he throws Rampart under the bus for the whole thing while trying to deflect blame away from the Empire as an institution for the destruction of Kamino. The voice acting is also very stellar. He sounds as evil as ever, but the Emperor goes a step further and says that Rampart was only able to get away with this because the clone troopers blindly followed his orders. And I guess that's all the convincing that the other senators need, because it's clear that the Emperor is now going to get his way and that the bill is sure to pass. This is going to result in replacing the clones with stormtroopers, even despite the fact that the Bad Batch successfully got the files off the Venator ship and exposed the Empire's horrible acts to the Senate. But it just doesn't matter, because the Emperor is just too good at manipulating public opinion and events. And so we see that Halle Bertoni's instincts were kind of right here, but just because in this instance, doing nothing may have actually been better, it doesn't mean that doing the right thing is wrong. Because eventually, if enough people keep doing the right thing, things can change. You hear that? Be the change you want to see in the world. You little rascal, you. Anyway, on a side note, I do think that Chuchi is definitely in a lot of danger now. I mean, the Empire should be able to pretty easily put the dots together. Let's see. One of our military ships undergoing maintenance was attacked, and that same night, information on that same ship was released by the senator. Gee, I wonder if maybe that senator is connected to the attack, and to possibly other insurgent groups at large. Basically, I'm just saying, a happily ever after for the Blue Lady is definitely in question now. Understandably, the Batch is pretty down on how things unfolded. Echo in particular seems to blame himself, saying that they played right into the Emperor's hands. This is a natural reaction, but really, it's not that the Bad Batch played into Palpatine's hands and should have done things differently. Instead, I think it's just that the Empire is too powerful and there's nothing they could have done to stop it. I feel like they are assigning agency and responsibility to themselves and to a situation wrongly. They don't actually have any real control over what's going to happen. The deck is too stacked in Palpatine's favor. Sometimes in life, it's possible to do everything right and still lose. It's an uncomfortable reality check for Omega, but as I said, it also hits Echo pretty hard. So Echo decides to leave with Rex to fight the good fight. I guess he's tired of running missions for Sid, huh? Hopefully, the Batch as a whole will come around to that fact, because I think their talents are wasted working for Sid. Maybe they don't have to join Rex, but with their skills, they could be doing literally anything else. I guess they do need someone to give them orders because that's what they're used to, but surely someone other than Sid could help them with that. Anyway, Omega is devastated to see that Echo is leaving, but the rest of the Batch is understanding and encourages him to do what he needs to do. And on that bittersweet note, the episode ends. But now it's time for this video to end. So if you made it this far, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot. And let me know what you thought by leaving a comment. Anyway, I'm just gonna ask you now to take it easy, enjoy the rest of your day, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye.